Since I'm moving soon, I figured it'd be a good time to take a recording of this aquarium. This is a 40 breeder frag tank that I've been running in the living room of my home. And it's going to be taken down at the end of this month. This is about the best this tank has ever done. It's been set up for a long time and it had algae problems initially. It went through a few different variations. It originally had T5s. Currently it's running a black box LED 165 watt fixture. It does have a sump. It has a PVC overflow, which you can see on the right there. A problem with these PVC overflows is that you cannot get enough flow through them to your sump. So if you want to run like a refugium in your sump or anything, you actually have to put more flow through the sump, through the refugium area, which I'll show you in a minute when we get down to the sump area. But first, let's just take a look at these corals. There's actually, well, let's look at the fish. There's one fish, a blue damsel. Okay, let's look at the corals. There's a mix of coral in here. It's mostly LPS and softies. This is probably the coolest colony in the tank. It's a candy cane colony or trumpet. I love how these things expand once they hit like 20 polyps. They just explode because everyone is doubling constantly. This rock next to the candy cane colony is an acan rock, which I started about 2 months ago. I fragged up 15 to 20 acans and glued them all over this rock. I'm super excited to see how this rock turns out in 2 to 3 years when they're all touching each other. But that will be a patience project. Up front, there's a few toadstools here hidden. Some pallies that don't look happy at the moment. Mushrooms, some more candy canes, Monty. Here's a hammer frag and it's a couple heads. And a frog spawn. In the back there's a Goniopora and a Pavona coral. The Pavona's on the right. There's also some cool red mushrooms back there. The flow in this tank is a J-Bow RW4 and a small maxi jet on the right. There's also the return water, which is probably about 100, 200 gallons per hour. Let's take a look at the sump now. The sump area has a refugium on the right. I find with refugiums, if you don't feed a tank, the chaetomorpha will not grow. But if you feed the tank even a little bit, you can almost get to the point where you're dosing nutrients to grow chaeto. And the more food that you feed, the more it will grow, and the less. But if you just get on a good cycle, right now I've been doing about a 1/4 cube of PE Calanus to this tank per day, maybe a little bit less than that, and I can really dial in the growth on the chaeto, and I know that it's doing its job. This protein skimmer is a SCA 301 skimmer. I love it. I have 3 of them now, and it just pulls out the darkest great skim for nano tanks, for small tanks. It's underrated. Let me pull this lens off. There we go. Okay. There's also some live rock in the sump. It's just extra. I need to put it somewhere. I could probably put it in the 90, I guess. Running a Tunes Nano ATO, which is just a float valve. That thing has never really worked right, but it's never catastrophically failed, so I know that's not a good marker for how good it is. Here's the refugium light on. The light's actually on the right over there. And yeah, there's a good little bit of chaeto in here right now. I probably emptied this about a week ago. I store fish in that section sometimes as well. think that just about wraps it up on this tank. As I said, this tank's going to be taken down in about a month and about 2 weeks. So I wanted to get a recording of it before it is gone. The stand is going to be thrown away or severely repurposed because it's in bad shape. And even if it doesn't look like it currently. And the tank will be used for something else. Just get one more shot around here. These are Parazoanthus polyps. Oh, and I just got this little guy. Live Aquaria just sent me this with 10 cerith snails, so I'm super excited to see how it looks later. Okay. See you guys.